So in this video, we're going to be looking at very quickly Arsenal and Manchester City's next 4 Premier League games that lead up to the what I'll call the title decider, even though it may not be. Arsenal and Manchester City are going to be playing each other on April the 18th. Now, Arsenal are still 5 points clear in the Premier League title race, but the next 4 games are crucial, as well as all the games in between that may not be Premier League games, but they're also very important because the importance of those fixtures might determine how prepared both teams will be for the games that matter in the Premier League. So let's start from Arsenal. Arsenal just, defeated Chelsea, so they're going to be playing Brighton on Wednesday. Now, that game is very important. Arsenal versus Brighton away, very crucial. I don't think any game in the Premier League is more important than this game because it's still 3 points up for grabs. Arsenal have to show up. The game against Chelsea was good, but this game is equally as important. Brighton away is never going to be an easy fixture, but I expect Arsenal to take all 3 points because it is important to do so. Now, Mansfield Town is the FA Cup game that's coming next for Arsenal. It's going to be another away game. I don't expect Arsenal to get knocked out of the FA Cup by a team in that division. I expect Arsenal to come out winners in that FA Cup game. Again, that's also important for momentum. Arsenal need to show that they are ready to compete on all fronts. So I expect an Arsenal win as well. Now, Arsenal got what I'll call a relatively easy fixture in the Champions League. The next game is against Bayer Leverkusen away. Playing the away game first also is an advantage because, you get to play the second leg, which is the ultimate knockout game at home. Very big advantage. So Leverkusen is still not, you can't say it's a walkover. German teams are tough, but Arsenal will play Bayer Leverkusen. Somehow I expect them to go through in the second round. In this round of 16 in the Champions League. So shouldn't be any much difficult there. The next game is against Everton. Arsenal versus Everton. We know what goes on with Everton. They can be stoppers if they want to, but it's a home game at the Emirates. Arsenal should not have any problem seeing them off comfortably. That game should be a decent 3 points and at least a 2-goal margin in that game. I don't know what's going on with the midfield situation. Eze is sometimes on and off. Hopefully Odegaard is also back so we can have options up there. And of course, Kai Havertz. So, without any, Arsenal should not even play around with that game. I expect Arsenal to comfortably beat Everton at home. Now, the second leg of the Champions League against Bayer Leverkusen a week after the first leg is very important as well. Hopefully, by the end of the first leg, Arsenal will have done enough to put them where they belong. And hopefully, by that second leg, Arsenal will be able to rotate and rest on players, preparing for the big game, the EFL Cup final against Manchester City on March the 22nd. That is a big one, very important. I don't think it's as important as the Champions League, but you're just 90 minutes away from winning your first trophy in at least 6 years. Arsenal need to show up. I would say it's every man's game. Manchester City have as much a chance as Arsenal do. It's going to be at Wembley. It's a big game. Nobody knows what's going to happen on that day, but having to play Bayer Leverkusen, hopefully, 3 days before or so, or a few days before, should be the advantage we have because I think Manchester City have a tougher fixture, which we'll look at very soon. I don't know what the outcome of that Manchester City versus Arsenal game will be, but hopefully Arsenal win the League Cup. And then Bournemouth at home, April the 11th. Obviously, there's going to be a long break between March the 22nd and April the 11th. I think that's going to be an international break. But then come April the 11th, Arsenal will be playing Bournemouth at home. A Bournemouth without Antoine Semenyo, I do not expect them to give Arsenal a lot of problems. So I expect Arsenal to also defeat Bournemouth. The big game, Manchester City vs Arsenal on April the 18th, which many people see, including myself at this point, as the title decider. We'll see at that point what that is going to be. Maybe before then, the title will already be decided, depending on how City and Arsenal perform, in the games leading up to that. So for me, that is a very crucial game. And that will be probably in the last 4 or 5 games of the Premier League season. And on that day, the winner or the loser, even if it's a draw, at this point, a draw will be good enough for Arsenal, but that game is crucial. Now, let's look at Manchester City fixtures very quickly as well. So for Manchester City, they're going to be playing on Wednesday, March the 4th, to be playing Nottingham Forest away. At home at the Etihad Stadium. Again, that game is very important. 3 points, same as every other game. I don't know what I feel like teams that are in the relegation zone are very, very difficult to play against. That's what I've seen over time. That game can be very difficult for Manchester City, but because they are playing at home, I expect them to win the game. But I'm open to surprises. Arsenal will now be playing Newcastle away in the FA Cup on March the 7th. That is difficult because Newcastle, anybody going to play at Newcastle, we know what it feels like to go to play away at Newcastle. It's a very difficult game. FA Cup game against Newcastle, anywhere at any time at Newcastle's home is a very tough game. So that for me is a tough one. City will not have the luxury of resting or rotating players as easily as they would have loved to. So they'll have to field everyone who is fit. And then the next one is Real Madrid away. It gets as tough as that's as tough as it gets. playing at the Bernabeu away for Real Madrid, against Real Madrid, March the 11th, tough game for Manchester City as well. And then they go away again to West Ham in the Premier League on March the 14th, and then they play the second leg against Real Madrid on March the 17th. And then Manchester City also now have to play at home against Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Now that game, as I can see, is postponed, which gives them a little bit of breather. Yes, it has to be postponed because March 17th, and then the League Cup final, March the 22nd, is just too many fixtures. So they'll postpone that game. And then EFL Cup final, like I said earlier, Arsenal Man City, EFL Cup final at Wembley is everyone's game. You never can predict a game like that. Tough, but it's all up for grabs. And then Manchester City will be going away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on April the 11th. Now that game is tough. And I think that game is very crucial before the Arsenal game against Manchester City on April 18th. Because if Manchester City go to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea are in a very difficult situation right now. Chelsea do not have the luxury of dropping points anymore. Chelsea are like wounded lions. They are currently 6th on the Premier League table. And as it currently stands, if they do not pick up wins as quickly as possible, there'll be no Champions League football for them next season. They'll likely be playing Europa League or even the Conference League. So it will be a very difficult game for Manchester City, especially because they're playing a Chelsea side who are looking for points anywhere they can grab it. So again, Manchester City Arsenal, the Etihad on April 18th may likely prove to be the title decider, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts on all these fixtures. I think that Manchester City versus Chelsea game, I see City dropping points there somehow. I think they will. And then of course the Manchester City Arsenal game at the Etihad Stadium. I don't think Arsenal anything can happen in that game, but I expect Arsenal to go there to believe they can win. And even a draw in that game is actually not a bad result. But I hope they can also come there believing they can win. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on all these fixtures. How many points right now? Is Arsenal 5 points, even though with one game, having played one game more. But what do you think will be happening after the game on April 18th? Manchester City versus Arsenal at the Etihad. Who is going to be top of the Premier League and who is going to win the Premier League title at the end of the season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to smash that like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Bye.